welcome to the session with Tiffany Wycoff, which is one of our partners. I'm really excited about it because what she's going to present, I've done together with her in confidence, the other partner, with a group of school kids in Lagos, Nigeria. And it was just my favorite day of 2025. So I'm really looking forward to you sharing and the great experiences that you've had with kids doing it. So thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you, Angeline, and thank you everyone for tuning in and being part of this conversation. It was one of my favorite days as well, but I had very big FOMO because I was on a plane when it was happening and I couldn't come to the live session. But it was really, I think, the spirit of collaboration that has been so touching for me in participating in today's sessions. I was sharing, I got up at like 3:30 this morning because I'm in New York, but I don't really want to miss anything because it's rare to see people come together who are in a professional workflow and really hard working at something so important as we all are in protecting children online and creating healthier and safer digital world for them. Um, and it's not that often that we get the chance to come up for air and to hear what we are each contributing to this work and to really put forward that spirit of collaboration, which I think in this time in the world is all the more important to model. So I'm just really grateful to be here and I'm really grateful to share an idea with you that, as Angeline said, we came up with together. And I wish I could demonstrate this, but it doesn't work virtually. But I invite you to try it. It's an exercise in understanding the power of togetherness. And here's the exercise. You could do it with your families and is analog and offline. So if you get a candle and you light it, and each person takes a candle or a match and lights their individual candle, and then you take a minute and you put them together. I wonder if you know what happens in that moment. And you could drop it in the chat if you'd like. And if not, I will tell you the answer. Because in that moment, when you put the flames together, it surges upward and it becomes even brighter. And I think that's a really important visual for us to keep in mind as we do this work because we have a really big problem to solve and we're not going to solve it alone. No one of us is walking around with the answer. I wanted to just share a little bit about what I'm contributing as an individual flame to this collective effort, and that is the focus on youth leadership in this work. That's my contribution that I'm committed to, and to activating the young people that have lived through the digital upheaval of our time, because I do believe that they're in the best position to really remix the way that we use technology and we build it, hopefully, and lead the change that we so desperately need in the digital world. So that's why I started my organization, which is called Generation Remix, with that mission to create a youth led global digital well-being movement. And thankfully, I've had some amazing collaborators. And I came to this work after I spent a lot of time excited about technology. I spent my career as a teacher, educator, and then as an ed tech entrepreneur, trying to help teachers adapt to the use of digital devices in their classroom. And I felt that they were being woefully disregarded as the power brokers that they really are in the classroom in place of devices and software. And I just wanted to create something special that was geared towards supporting teachers. But along the way, I also was a mom. And in my experience as a mom, I really unfortunately lived the reality of some of the harms that we know that technology can have on children. So my daughter, when she was in high school, went from being this just really vivacious, happy, and well-adjusted child to suffering from depression and anxiety, in large part fueled by her experiences on social media, which was very new at the time. It all came kind of crashing into our world when she was in middle school and on the verge of going into high school. And so I've been very curious about um, that experience. And now that she's older, we've done a lot of reflecting on it. And I decided I really need to get active in trying to do something about it and working with people like my daughter who have grown up in the digital world and have a lot to say about how we can make it better. So I think that we can now do better now that we have better information. This group, I think, knows a lot of the harms. We have a lot of alarm bells going off right now in the world about the issues with online safety, privacy, and digital well-being. And it needs to happen. It's about time. And in part, this is because of some viral success moments from the work of Jonathan Haidt with the Anxious Generation to the viral TED Talk from the Gen Z or Dino Ambrosi Project Reboot, and we're catching people's attention now. And we're talking about one of my favorite things that Dino says is that the average 18-year-old in the US is on track to spend 93% of their remaining free time in this life on their screens. And every young person that I talk to that has heard that stat is all of a sudden aware that they're wasting a lot of time. And we have a lot of data, of course, that the impact on of tech on mental health is really starting to show very strong correlations that is very compelling. And there's not anybody walking around saying, I really wish our kids were on tech more. We have the increase in depression and anxiety, increase in suicidal behaviors amongst high school students, and that all predates 2019, which ushered in the COVID era. Um, we've seen the increase in FBI reported unwanted sexual solicitation and dangers. So, all that to say, there's a very, very good reason for all of the alarm bells going on. But one of the things that I think is really important for us to recognize is that we're not going to get very far if we stay in a space of alarm because the alarm creates awareness, but it also ushers in anxiety and shame and kind of doubles down on some of those negative feelings. We need to really think about how we can move beyond that recognition of anxiety in the world and give rise to optimism and action and collaboration that breeds hope. So that's what I'm hoping to share with you today is an idea that we could put youth in the forefront of some of that movement and create something really special. Getting them, I was talking with these youth yesterday, high school students here in New York City, where I am today, not where I live, but I'm working with about 12 high school students as media ambassador interns this week. And they are preparing to do some work here in activating their communities. And we're going to be actually zooming them in tomorrow to talk about that work. But I asked them yesterday what they thought about their generation being labeled as the anxious generation. And as you can expect, they had quite a lot to say about that. And they didn't particularly like it. And I tend to agree with them because we have created an anxious, chaotic digital world that has failed to protect and safeguard children and our kids, and they believe the same thing, were trying to navigate it as best they could. My daughter was extremely savvy at the way that she was trying to use technology to enhance her creativity. She wrote endlessly. She connected with people. She did all of these good things. But we also did not have the safeguards in place, as many rules as we had in our house, to keep her from the harmful things. But what they do gain through that is a critical insight. And I think the seeds that can help them lead the change that we need to see. I heard Andy say earlier in a session that this is a society we have built online. We have a physical world and now we have a digital world. And that digital world is in large part for many of us who work remotely, for many kids who spend their entire days on ed tech and then go home and are on their devices. It's the majority of real life. And we're not treating that digital world with the same attention and sustainability and governance that we need to in order to achieve a more respectable society online. So I think that our kids can really help us. If you think about another couple of reasons why we need to get youth at the forefront, I think that this is a long game. And we have people that are pre-professional, they have their whole careers ahead of them. They can go into whatever fields they are going to go into whether it's tech or policy, education, whatever it is, with the awareness that this, or as parents, with the awareness that this is an issue that they need to keep at the forefront. They're bringing a lot of lived experience, and they've got influence. It's pretty magical to see older kids engaging with younger kids, engaging with their families and their siblings. I felt like when my son came home from school and was excited about a topic that he learned in school and shared that with us as the teacher, I felt like I really respected that as a parent. And I was like, wow, that's really cool that he learned that. Plus, he learned it. His metacognitive awareness and the internalization of that information went much deeper than had he just experienced something at school and learned it and then moved on with the regularly scheduled program. So I think all of that combines to have a really powerful effect. So I'm going to share my screen with you really quick, and I'm going to take you through what we created that sort of spins that flywheel of youth leadership. Let me pull that up. So basically, the idea that we have, which is called the Teach Five Challenge, is part of this type of flywheel that I'm trying to create through the work of Generation Remix and in partnership with many other organizations. Very partnership forward and collaboration forward. But the idea is to have youth play a role in bringing their lived experience to the design forefront and say, I have these ideas. Here's maybe a way that we could approach teaching other people about digital well-being and online safety. Here's a way that we might keep people engaged or help them get outside more. So just generating ideas that will help this issue and drive it forward. A group that I was working with came up with some policy ideas about curriculum that should be mandated. Another group came up with just a funny turtle idea that migrates around public spaces and is so distracting that people actually see it. They get off their devices and it prompts a conversation. So I think kids bring a lot of creativity to that design work, and we're trying to summon it. And then the idea is what they create, we plug into leadership channels in schools and in communities. So there are a lot of ways that youth are already organized to lead. In the States, we have student councils and we have, clubs that kids get really excited to start when they're especially in middle school. We have kids getting active as volunteers going into high school. And so there are a lot of opportunities to, once we have some content and programming, to really access those existing channels. And then the idea from there is that then those youth leaders are providing a way to get their whole community talking about and teaching each other. So the idea we came up with in terms of how to do that, as I said, was called the Teach Five Digital Wellbeing Challenge. And this is something that Angeline and I and Confidence came up with when we were preparing to do the workshop that Confidence was going to lead. And we thought it's going to be really great for kids to receive this information and this extraordinary experience. And I don't, if you were in Confidence's section earlier, she talked about connecting first with empathy, with the heart, helping kids understand how they're feeling. So that extraordinary experience that she was creating for them was going to be very special. But we wanted to think of a way that we could multiply it outward to get kids to be that kind of multiplier that takes something that they felt that was really important to them and go out into the world and share it with others. And that became the Teach Five Challenge. The idea of the Teach Five Challenge is to have first a learning experience rather. And thankfully, Angeline has an incredible library of open content with Data Girl and Data Girl and Friends that we were able to pull into this challenge alongside some videos from my friend Megan, who you'll hear from tomorrow at Take Two Media Initiative here in New York. And we have those available for teachers to show their students and say, okay, if we want to learn, for example, today about media diets, we will pick that video and then we're going to watch it together and talk about it. From there, they get ready to teach. And we say, listen, let's have a game of it. It's a competition. Here's 1 week or here's 2 weeks. The teacher gets to pick the challenge window and they say, go teach as many people as you can. I don't know how many of you remember growing up doing reading logs and competitions and earning the gift certificates to get a free milkshake or whatnot at McDonald's, but I remember that and logging my books. And so the idea is that they log. I taught my brother about, how not to compare yourself to another person online and think that that's what's real. I taught my grandmother, we had a bunch of kids yesterday. We were asking them what they were going to go home and talk to their families about. And a lot of them were going to talk about how to decipher real from fake news, how to check sources, how to really understand if there's bias in something because they felt like some of their relatives were particularly susceptible to it, especially those that didn't grow up with digital news. And then from the teaching moment, we're just tracking and we're reporting back so we can actually celebrate. My class, who has, 30 kids in it, went out and taught at least 5 children each. That's a lot of kids that my class now had. And teachers submit their tracking forms, they fill out one form, and we send them some certificates and badges. So that's basically the Teach 5 challenge in a nutshell. I'll go a little bit deeper into some of the resources that we've put together in this first version of the challenge. And the idea that we want to invite people to do is to join us like roughly synchronized experience of the Teach 5 challenge this spring, starting in March and in April, if teachers are interested in being part of a community that goes through it. So we have some stories here from Data Girl and some videos from the Take Two Media initiative here in New York. I I was gonna play one of them, but I'm not. Might as well. Let's try. You'll have to let me know if you can hear this. So can you hear it? Oh, wait, I'm not gonna be able to hear. Hold on. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
No.
A lot of times after
Yes.
these videos, what more? Show her another one.
Yes, doctor. Gotcha. Give random people one.
Awesome. Keep looking. Like more. Show her a video about that tickling competition.
Yes, Dr. Algorithm.
Tickling competition? No way that's real.
We've got her now, doctor.
What happens to me? What have you been doing? I was just on my iPad for a few minutes. Harper, you've been out here for 3 hours. What? How did that happen? You must have fallen into the clutches of Dr. Algorithm. No. Who? Every time you use an app on your phone or iPad, be aware that you're at risk of getting swept up by the algorithm. Certain apps are designed to keep your attention for as long as possible. The longer you use it, the more money they make. And we're not just talking about a couple of dollars. We are talking about billions of dollars just off of young people's information alone. This practice is known as the attention economy, where your attention is the product and their game is to get you hooked. The algorithm keeps track of everything you do on an app and then uses that information to keep showing you more things that you will like, holding your attention hostage. The algorithm will show you fun graphics, celebrities, clickbait, anything to keep you watching.
So I want to stop it there, but I just wanted to share a little bit of that with you because I think that when kids can hear other kids or the content that was built for them and talking to them in kid language, it can be really empowering. And then the idea is they can use some of these same tools to teach their friends, maybe or their family going home and doing that at home. So the second part again is the teach and share with others, teaching at least 5 others, including family members or friends, logging it in the printed out teaching log. We don't collect those logs. Those are for the teachers to collect, and then the teachers are the ones reporting to us. And then finally, oh, sorry, we made this one simple prep activity
to, even if you can't, because we know that some kids will not be able to pull up a video and show, their families. And we wanted to make something that is just easy to have in conversation at the dinner table. So it's what one lesson, like what one thing did you take away that can help you stay safe online and with media and stay healthy with the digital in the digital world. And then finally, we have a game that we created as a version of charades, which is like just, acting out these different terms, first in kind of like describing them in taboo style. It's called a fishbowl game. The idea is that families could play this. We have another game that's actually being designed right now that was the idea of some ninth and 10th graders in Florida, which was to create a board game that was a little bit like, kind of like a shoots and ladders or Candyland style game where kids learn about online safety and well-being. So that should be out before the challenge starts. And hopefully, we're going to get some people to join our spring cohort. I have the sign up today. I have this form for you. If you have, anybody that you can share it with, I think that would be really great. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to put this in the chat for you. And my challenge to you is if you are a classroom teacher, which I used to be, by the way, I taught middle school and high school English. That was I guess my dad would have said that was my punishment for swearing that I never would teach English after seeing him do it for his whole career. If you are a classroom teacher, I would love for you to check it out and to consider joining the challenge this spring. And if you aren't a classroom teacher or principal, but a classroom teacher anywhere. We had somebody from Croatia reach out this morning to join, and I was really excited about that. So I would love to talk with anybody who's interested in joining and see if there's any modifications to materials that you need to make it work for your contacts. As Angeline said, she did that for some of the Data Girl resources for Confidence's workshop just to make sure that there was representation and kids could really see themselves in the characters. So, um, definitely feel free to join us in the challenge. And I think I just will end with a desire for a year from now, when we're all back in this conference, that we have a really great understanding of what each of us is trying to do, and that we've come together in meaningful ways to help activate youth and put them at the forefront of this digital well-being movement. Thank you so much. I'm wrapped with my content. Angeline, did you have any questions or did we want to take any questions?
No, sorry, I couldn't get my thing to turn on.
Wasn't paying
No,
attention to any Q&A, so I don't know if anything came in.
no, we got one interested, Edith from Zimbabwe, right?
I
Wrote
loved
that she
your
was
session,
interested.
Edith.
And no, I wanted to say I've also spoken to other like youth. This is a regular thing from different ages. They all say like the ones that listen to them like most are usually ones that are just slightly older, like a few years older. It's exactly the concept, that you have, right? That talk to someone who's just a little bit younger because, they're old enough that they think, yeah, this person has more life experience than me, but not far away that they think they're in a different world. So I think it's a really nice, simple, powerful concept. Tomorrow we're going to see directly from some of the youth that you've been working with, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I should mention this is the beginning of this type of what we're really creating is a like club in the box style set of resources that is very focused on activating leadership for digital well-being and safety in schools. And so I'm actually going to work with a lot of college age youth this summer and I'm in the process of hiring this right now, and they're going to design additional challenges, additional games, additional programming that really supports school-based leadership movements, especially I think by middle school, we're going to see a lot of, and upper elementary or upper lower primary. At high school, I think we can do a lot of work in that. So I'll be sure to share those resources as we create them this summer, and then we're going to be working with high school, middle school students to get them activated.
We have a Gen Z panel tomorrow, so make sure to get in contact with them too because they're all active in this space. So
That's great. That's amazing. I will definitely do that. Well, thank you so much for having me on and for being such a good collaboration partner. You bring out the best creativity in everyone. So I really appreciate that. This is a definite superpower.
thank you. No, it was a great group. As I said, confidence, you weren't there. Confidence is here now. Both Tiffany and I named your day, Privacy Day, is our favorite day of 2024. So now you're here to hear it.
Very true. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing teachers from around the world joining our challenge this spring.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it too. See you
I'm happy
tomorrow,
to,
Tiffany. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'll be around tomorrow and then I will stick around some and I'll put my email in the lobby chat so people can get in touch. All right. Bye.
Excellent. I knew we could count on Evelyn too. Edith and Evelyn.
Woohoo.
Rozio, I'm looking at you. Yeah, we can bring this to Italy.
You know, why start small when you can start global?
Exactly. John's gonna bring his dad.
That's right. There you go. Recruiting of parents is completely acceptable. And of children, by the way, and of children, because it's even more
Exactly.
powerful if a kid walks it into their school and says, I want to do this competition.
Actually, that's a good one. I'm gonna do that too.
Yeah, I
Say
know.
no. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, mine even has a nickname already. She can say
Ooh, I love it.
the data defender. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so if you can contact Tiffany, if you can't find Tiffany, you can Confidence or I
Yeah, any
will
of us.
connect. Yeah, really great. It's so exciting. Thank you. I'm looking forward to see how far we can get with this.
I agree. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see all of you tomorrow again.